Goeienaand. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And you know, one of the most stark reminders of how bad things are going in South Africa is looking at what's happening to business in major centres like, for example, Durban. Now, I have told the story before, so I'll keep it very brief, but the Durban Club in the Esplanade, right opposite the yachts in Durban. The Durban Club used to have 3,000 members. This is back in the 1980s. And there was a waiting list of 20 years to actually become a member of the Durban Club. When I was in Durban about 8 years ago, Reddy, who was the manager of the Durban Club, I met with him and we had a chat, and he said they've now got just 300 members. And very rarely do the members even come to the club. You know, it's become too dangerous. That's what's happened just to once very popular business in Durban. And things in Durban are just going absolutely pear-shaped. Business owners under siege from brazen criminals are leaving CBDs across KwaZulu Natal in their droves. In addition to crime, dilapidated infrastructure, poor amenities, and a lack of service delivery have added to their woes. And this move is expected to hit municipalities hard, as a business exodus would deprive them of much-needed tax revenue. Business organisations are urgently calling on the government to address the issues to reverse the growing trend. To fight crime in Durban CBD, Acting Mayor Fauzia Peer will today oversee the demolition of 3 derelict buildings which have become drug dens, brothels and homes for vagrants along the Mahatma Gandhi Road node. Palisa Fili, Chief Executive of the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, said crime continued to impact negatively on business. She said the Chamber would like to see a decrease in office vacancies and greater support by local government to businesses within the inner city. Reduced crime and grime, as well as better amenities and infrastructure, will make Durban's inner city more attractive and actively reverse trends like businesses and ratepayers leaving the city centre, she said. She said businesses were forced to close down, move or bring operations to a halt as a result of the crime. Reducing and eventually eliminating the effects of crime remains a key objective of the Durban Chamber and its Safety and Justice Forum. We encourage members and organised business to join this forum in order to tackle this critical business challenge, Philly said. Businesses in the Pietermaritzburg and Isipingo CBD have also been hit hard by crime. Operating a business in the capital city was no longer viable for some entrepreneurs. A long-established Pietermaritzburg shelving and furniture business owner, who did not want to be named, said he had been operating for 30 years, but had now reached a point where he needed to relocate or close down. My businesses are making less than 50% of the revenue we used to make when the crime was not so bad. He said his stores were constantly being targeted, and as a result, he continued to lose clients. My business operates with the gates closed and locked. We screen people before they walk in. I have one staff member whose only job is to open and close the gate, he said. He said even though shopping malls were more expensive, his clients preferred to go there because it was safer. According to the businessman, all small retailers in the city are suffering. He said he had forked out thousands of rands installing CCTV cameras, erecting barbed wire, fitting alarm systems and hiring burglar guards at his stores. Melanie Vaness, Chief Executive of the Pietermaritzburg Chamber of Commerce, said, aside from financial losses from brazen business robberies, KwaZulu-Natal businesses are having to spend excessive amounts on security to try and keep their customers safe. Can you imagine what that's doing to the price of goods that you've got to buy from these businesses just to keep them viable? It's making prices go through the roof. In northern KwaZulu Natal, Vanessa said customers were robbed while doing daily shopping and recently patients and visitors to Westville Hospital were robbed of their belongings. We actually covered that a few weeks ago. I've had reports of staff being threatened if the company refuses to pay protection money in Tongaat, she added. Business Against Crime South Africa project manager Naeem Raiman said crime not only affects the company's bottom line, but also the morale of the staff. Skilled staff with experience are being lost due to increasing crime, he added. That the knock-on effect was that stores were forced to close down, employees lost their jobs, and mall owners were left with vacant rental space. Economist Davi Ruet said the increase in crime businesses in KwaZulu Natal and nationally would likely be reflected in the 2019 crime statistics. From personal experience and from talking to local business people, crime seems to be a major and growing issue. It is not only business losses or businesses closing down, but also the future investors that are spooked, he said. In his budget speech last week, KwaZulu Natal Department of Transport, Community Safety and Liaison MEC Mksilili Kaunda said the province was experiencing high levels of crime. Spokesperson Mluleki Mtwangwa said the department had not received information about high levels of fear by businesses due to crime. As a department, we are going to conduct an assessment on the functionality of our community crime-fighting structures and the police stations in the areas that were identified as hotspots to see how we can defeat the surge of crime, said Mtungwa. Now, while all this is going on, and this is not just restricted to KwaZulu-Natal, this is happening right across the country today. The amount of theft and crime going on, people being stopped in the street and having their phones and their handbags taken off them and things like that, it is becoming epidemic. And what has just come out today, which has really put even more pressure on the South African economy, and I'll put a short video up that you can have a look at, is that Fitch, one of the three main rating agencies which already sees the rand as junk, has now moved it from stable to negative. And that's why I'm saying to you that, hey, you got to be very careful if you've got your money in rands, because you're going to be losing value very, very quickly. And on that disappointing note, if I can put it that way, I'll leave it there. Here comes the video. Please remember to subscribe to get the updates and ring the bell to get every update. Okay, if you don't ring the bell, you don't get every update I do. All right, guys, please have a great evening. Bye for now.
All right, we do have some breaking news, and it's not good news for the economy. Rupio Madzena is here with the details. Fitch downgrading us.
Another one of the big major global ratings agencies, Shahan, coming out with their review of South Africa, is moving us from a stable outlook to a negative outlook. Now, if you're aware of what Fitch has rated South Africa in the past, you'll know that we are currently in junk status in terms of our credit rating with Fitch. And they've cited a number of reasons in their particular report. They've said slow GDP growth and the continued support to state-owned entities. Now, you will remember one state-owned entity that would have sparked the report by Fitch is 2 days ago, government announcing that it will be giving 59 billion rand to Eskom over the next 2 years. That's 26 billion rand this year and 33 billion rand in the following year to continue to rather assist Eskom as a going concern and to assist in its debt. And we've also seen the likes of other global stakeholders reducing South Africa's growth outlook, the Reserve Bank reducing it to 0.6 for the 2019 year, and Moody's just a couple of days ago reducing it to 0.6 GDP growth. Really not looking good, and Fitch just saying the fact that our debt to GDP ratio continues to widen. So that means that our debt continues to grow over the rate that we are growing as a country in terms of GDP, is really going to impact on our long-term outlook in terms of economic growth, Shahan. So that's the latest out of Fitch.
So, of course, Moody's Moody's is some ratings agency that, of course, we look at quite closely, and they advised already during the week when Eskom got that 59 billion rand bailout, well, the announcement of it anyway, that they were worried about this. So what's this going to do with their credit rating decision as well?
So they are set to be releasing their credit rating, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in November. So, and they're an important one to watch because they're the only one out of the big three that have kept us at investment grade in terms of our debt. So this is basically saying what Fitch is saying and what S&P has said is that really our bonds and our credit rating is really below investment grade. And so based on what's come out in the recent days, Moody's may have no choice but to follow suit, just given the current standing of South Africa's debt to GDP ratio, the current ways in which the government is trying to bail out state-owned entities in terms of just pumping money in and really not, according to Moody's, and I quote, a clear turnaround strategy apart from fiscal guidance to fix state-owned entities. So it's really going to be interesting to see if Moody's does indeed follow suit, just based on the fact that Fitch, remember, we are already in junk status with Fitch, and they've taken us from a stable outlook to a negative outlook. So they're really, really not optimistic about the outlook for South Africa.
Yeah, and that basically tells you that all of the effort and plans that President Cyril Ramaphosa actually put into trying to reassure these credit ratings agencies, it has not worked. But we'll get more details from you in our later bulletins. Of course, that's Rupiwa Madzena.